morning, junior high student. Welcome to day 26 of the Psalm Summit Challenge, and welcome to Psalm 104. And you'll notice that the first line sounds very similar to the last line the first line and the last line, I suppose, of yesterday. But we actually don't know the author of this psalm. So perhaps it could be David once more, or perhaps this is somebody else. But regardless, the idea carries, bless the Lord, O my soul. And today we come face to face, a whole chapter, a long chapter, you got this, a long chapter of God's sovereignty. That is an awesome word. It's $1 million word. Sovereignty. My easy translation, God reigns over. Period. Sovereignty. Does that make sense? Where's sovereign reigns over? Flip it. Sovereign reigns over. God reigns over all. This is the concept that God is king over everything. And unlike, we'll say, Donald Trump, who rules and is an authority over our nation through democracy and legislative powers, God is the king of all. And it's not just that, like Donald Trump, he makes laws that then decide what people do. No, God reigns over all, and that every single citizen, everything, every creation, every molecule, every atom is under God's control. And today we get to look at God's sovereignty. And this psalm brings up, in many, many ways, different ways in which he is sovereign, different ways in which he rules over his creation. He rules over the galaxy, the universe that he has created. And it also goes on more than just that he rules over, but because he is God, because he is king over all, and he is ruling over all, everything within his kingdom, which is the entirety of everything, he cares for. And as a king, he protects that which he has created, and he provides for, and he cares for, and he takes care of. Super cool. So you'll see, yes, what is sovereignty means that God rules over, he reigns over everything. 5 unique ways. I'm going to ask you different ways in which you see God's sovereignty, his ruling, his authority over these little details. Sometimes we often think God said, let there be light, boom, the world is created, and then hands off. And then he sent a flood, hands off. And then he sent his son, hands off. And now for the last 2,000 years, God's up in the sky, doing whatever he pleases, and now humans are doing as they will. No, that is not how the Bible presents God. God is at work in everything today. So we see God's sovereignty. We see different ways in which we can grasp his sovereignty. There's multiple ways in which it communicates it in the psalm. And now my question for you is, what is the benefit of us, a creature, under a sovereign king? Imagine a life where God was not in charge, not in control, not sovereign. How would life be different? So consider how your life is better because God is sovereign, because he does reign over all. And then, how does God's sovereignty bring him glory? The fact that God is ruling over all, how is that to his benefit, and how does that glorify himself further? And then, second to last, it's all about sovereignty in this, both in this chapter as well as for your questions. And then I asked, how can you, because God is sovereign and ruling over all, how should that give you trust in him and trust in life? How should your life look different and transformed, and that you know that God is sovereign? For example, I am departing to Albania in 45 minutes, and I know that whatever happens when we get on that plane, or when we touch down in Albania, or whatever goes on in between or there in the next 2 weeks, is under God's kingship. It is under his rule, and whatever happens, whether it be pleasant or unpleasant to me, there's a king that rules over all, and he does what is good for his creation and for his glory. And I have hope and joy and peace in that. Do I stress? Do I worry? Do I get anxious about what happens on day 3 of VBS? Yes. Is there any reason for that? No, because we have a God that rules over all. All right. Awesome psalm. God is sovereign. He reigns over everything, and that is to our huge benefit. And I hope you get to think about that today. All right. Have a lovely, what day is it in 2 days? Sunday. I hope you had so much fun at church. Have a lovely Sunday. See you in a few minutes. She smiled that time. See you in a few minutes.